Hello there, my crafting friends. This is Amanda with Molly Cole Creations. We are back today with some new fun projects. All of this stuff that I am using today are Dollar Tree blanks. So I'm just kind of laying out what we have. I've got a mop head. I've got some of those little plastic jars. We've got this easel. It's the double-sided chalkboard easel. This little house that I think is also chalkboard. We've got another little house that has the buffalo check print on it with a chalkboard in the middle. That's kind of the fabric buffalo check print. I'm not sure if they still have that because I've had that one a long time. Some leaves from the Dollar Tree, some fall leaves. Those two little jars that I already mentioned, I'm sure they still have these, but I haven't have had them a long time. One of their Dollar Tree candles and a wood pumpkin shape. This 12-inch round actually is not from the Dollar Tree because my Dollar Tree doesn't carry them. This one came from Hobby Lobby, but I know that you can get them at Dollar Tree stores, just not mine. This is one of their calendars, and this is actually the first year ever that I have been able to get my hands on some of these calendars. This one is really, really cute. It's got that farm life cow on the front. We're going to be using one of these and do a little something with it. I'm thinking we're going to go with that one that says Hello Fall. And that is going to be, we're going to kind of turn that into some artwork, if you will. Just really beautiful prints. And I am kind of going with a lot of buffalo check this season, so that's going to fit right in. This is one of the window cling sheets, and I did buy this year. It was, in fact, the only one my Dollar Tree had. But I did think that it has some really beautiful images. I've never crafted with these. I've only used them as their intended purpose to go on glass or windows. So this is going to be fun. And let's get started. Project number 1, we are going to start with our wood round. We are going to give it a good coat of white paint. That's just the Waverly chalk paint. And I do a couple of coats on this and just make sure I give it full coverage. I cut this very large decal on my Cricut, and it is the Man on the Moon image. I got this image for free from a gal on YouTube. Her name is Whitney from Whiskey and Wit. Probably all are familiar with her, and she's amazing. And she has a blog, and so she will give cut files out for free if you sign up for it. So I didn't design this, but she did. And it's a great design. I'm just getting it weeded out and discarding the vinyl that we don't need. This was not tricky to weed. I just had to remember where all the little pieces were so that I didn't tear it off with the vinyl. This is kind of a vinyl waster project, but it is what it is. So I am getting, again, a very large piece of transfer tape. Luckily, this can just be reused, so no big deal there. And as I'm applying this, I kind of figure out I either didn't measure it properly, or I think all I needed to do was line it up better at the top. Because as I went, I realized it wasn't all going to fit, but it's okay. I just went with it. And the little piece at the bottom that didn't quite make it on the round, I'm just going to cut. Where this isn't like a perfect circle or design. In fact, I just left it right there on the transfer tape. And then I kind of cut it off here at the top. so that I could do a little bit of vinyl surgery. And honestly, you can't even tell when it's done unless you were to look directly at what it should have been shaped and what it ended up being. But just have to fool around with it a little bit, and this was entirely just my error. I should have lined it up better, but I was in too deep. I couldn't remove any of it at that point. So it kept moving and got it figured out. I reapplied the transfer tape down at the bottom there. Also, yes, I am slightly out of frame, so I apologize for that. Still working on my photography skills, among other things, right? Putting our transfer tape back so that we can reuse it on another project. And we are moving on. This is a Dollar Tree project number 2 with that little wood pumpkin. Now, I did something kind of similar to this, I guess, in my last video. If y'all watched it, I painted some wooden door tags, and one of them I painted in this buffalo check or buffalo plaid. I don't know. What is the difference? Do y'all know? I never know what to call it. But anyhow, so I do kind of go over that part a little bit slowly in the other video, or more slowly than I am here. And so this may be repetitive a little bit to some of y'all, but as I said, I'm kind of going with a theme for my fall decor. And buffalo check is a part of it. So I gave that a good coat of paint, or white paint. And now I am lining up my tape for the first set of stripes. That little piece of tape I use as a spacer. And this may look like I'm doing the lines slightly crooked or diagonal. I'm not. It's just maybe how I have the pumpkin on my mat, or maybe how the camera is. I'm not sure. But after that, I make sure the tape is good and tight. And we just apply gray paint. I am using Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I think it's called aged gray. A nice gray, not too dark, not too light. And that part is done. I'm reusing the tape, as you can see. So I flipped the pumpkin, and I'm doing the stripes the opposite direction. And I did reuse a lot of that tape, no sense in wasting it, and used the same little spacers so that the spacing would all be accurate. And that's it. Just put those stripes in there, and then we again go back in with the gray after making sure all of our tape is good and sealed. Give these stripes a good coat of the gray, being careful not to glob on too much paint, but enough where, because you're not going to really, it's tough to do touch-ups on this. It's possible. You just have to go in with a really teeny tiny little detailed brush, and I'd prefer just to not even have to mess with it if possible. You could also use better brushes. I am just using sponge brushes here because I am kind of cheap and kind of lazy. I don't like to wash brushes, and I don't feel guilty if I have to throw these out because I reuse them over and over throughout projects. So in this case, for the next step, you're going to leave all of that tape on. Don't remove it. So you will have to get new tape out, and what we're going to do is put the tape back on the same places we did for the first coat of stripes. So starting right there in the middle, it makes it super simple. You can kind of also see where it's a little bit lighter, I guess. And we are just gonna line those up the best that we can, right where we had those pieces of tape to begin with. And then that will ensure that you have the perfect squares. And the next step is going to be in black, and I'm just using Folk Art black. You could do this with orange for fall or Halloween. That would be really cute. Maybe I should try that. You could do it with 2 grays instead of black and gray. You could just do one lighter, one darker. For Christmas, you could do it even with some red. That would be really fun, red and black. So I think I will definitely try some of those out. I usually just kind of go with the standard white, gray, and black, but I think it'd be fun to mix it up a little. And I'm just removing the tape immediately. No sense in waiting at this point. I'm just being careful not to drag any of my wet tape on any part that is uncovered. And we are about to see the magic. I don't know. I find it to be so very satisfying, or sometimes kind of a disappointment if you had a lot of bleeds, but in this case, I didn't have any. So we did good on this one, and look how cute this is. I am going to let this dry for a few minutes, at least that black part. The rest of it's already dry. And then we are going to, oh, I forgot. First, I'm going to paint the stem. I'm just using the Waverly Antique Wax paint to paint our little stem. And I'm not worried about that hole. At first, I left the hole because I wasn't sure if I was going to want to hang it. And then I decided I wasn't going to hang it, but I didn't need it there. I didn't need to cover it. If you wanted to cover it, you would probably want to get some wood putty or caulk or whatever. I cut this little bird with my laser machine, but I know that most Dollar Trees carry wood cutouts with these types of words. Mine either doesn't, or I'm not looking in the right place. But my Dollar Tree is different than a lot, which is probably why I don't shop there a whole lot. In fact, this is my first video that I've ever made only using Dollar Tree products. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that my Dollar Tree doesn't carry a lot of the stuff that some do. I see some people with amazing finds. We also don't have a plus section, so I can't score any of those deals, but I painted the welcome with the antique wax, just like the stem. And then I grabbed some ribbons, and I'm just going to do another really quick, I think they call it like a messy bow. And they're fun to make because they turn out really cute, and they're just so stinking easy. And you can use a thin ribbon and wired ribbon, and it still looks good. Sometimes with bows, it's hard to use those thinner ribbons because they aren't wired, so you can't like fluff and round them the way that you want. And I normally would pull out like a zip tie and drill a hole through this. In this case, I'm just hot gluing the bow on and using twine to secure my cute little messy bow. And probably a lot of this ribbon is from the Dollar Tree. Some of it I only had like remnants of. I didn't even have the roll left on it. And the burlap, I think, may have come from Hobby Lobby or Walmart. I don't know. Anyhow, you can find that kind of ribbon just about anywhere. At this point, I am taking my thin twine and wrapping the stem in it. So I'm giving that stem just a really soft look with that twine wrapped all around it. And it ends up so cute, you guys. I did have to use some hot glue. That stem goes in a curve, and I couldn't keep the twine on there for the way that I wanted without the hot glue. I'm grabbing some of those leaves from the Dollar Tree, and I did pull out a couple of other random leaves. I don't think I used them, but I'm going to finish up this stem after I heated up the glue gun and get that all squared away. I probably will cover the back of this, or paint the back of it, I mean, with more of the Waverly wax, but I have not done that yet. Depends on what I'm going to do with it. Another reason I don't craft strictly with Dollar Tree stuff is because oftentimes people know it's from the Dollar Tree, and I sell a lot of the stuff that I make, so it's hard for me to get away with charging for my time and for everything that I do for a project when it's obvious that something came from the Dollar Tree. I know that sucks, but it just is what it is. And a lot of people do recognize stuff from the Dollar Tree straight away. Also, I like to work with wood. I need different kinds of wood than the Dollar Tree offers for a lot of the projects I like to make. So that's that, but I did have enough blanks that I figured I could do an entire video with them. And that's where we're at. So I hot glued this on. I am trimming up the edges, doing that dovetail look. I'm using my Surebond thick super glue to apply the welcome. It's very thin lettering. I thought that glue would be easier to not make a big mess. And that one turned out beautiful. I love it. Okay, this one is so easy, you guys. Just took that white candle and I cut a whole bunch of bats on my Cricut. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna weed up, but I'm not even using transfer tape or anything. I'm just gonna stick on these bats like willy-nilly, just here and there, which sometimes can be hard for me. I almost like lined them up perfectly and measured, and anyways, I just figured it's going to be easier just like this. So I'm just kind of using my fingers. You can grab some tweezers if that helps. And I did clean the candle because I had to peel off that label on the back, and it was like so sticky. That label did not want to come off. In fact, there is still a little bit of residue left, but this candle won't be going anywhere. It will just be staying in our house, being festive. I like to put bats. I bought like a huge pack of different sized, miscellaneous sized bats last year, the year before. I think it was last year. And we stuck them all over, like around our mantle, and they looked so cute. I can't wait to decorate again this year. In fact, I had my husband pull everything up from we have a crawl storage area under our basement. So I crawled in there and he helped me drag them all out. So I have pulled everything out. Now it's just a matter of, I want to get fall set up first, of course, and then in probably a week or two, I'll do my front porch. And my kids are already getting into all of it, so I'd be better off just to put it up. But the Dollar Tree candle was so easy, you guys. Can we even call it a project? Okay, y'all have probably seen these all around town. By town, I mean Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. I have seen them done with the rope, but I found the mop. I did discover, though, this is extremely hard to get off of that little mop holder. I, in fact, had to get my husband to help me. But I didn't want to cut them because I wanted them to be long. And they still weren't, like, super long, so you'll see kind of here what I did. But my husband was able to pry all that off, so I didn't have to cut the sheets. I'm using just a black poster board, or foam core board from the Dollar Tree. And I just kind of hand cut it. It looks like a child. My little kids could have probably cut this better than me, but it was hard to cut. It was thick. So I'm just using kind of a half oval, half moon shape, I guess. I don't know. And more hot glue. And I start my first strip. I'm just kind of doing like on top and around. Sorry about my head there. I don't know what I was doing. And go along the edge of, did I say we're making a ghost? You probably figured that out, but we're making a ghost. So I am starting, because these aren't as long as I maybe, like I would have liked to have just gone all the way around in one strip. But I was limited in that I was using the mop. If you were using the Dollar Tree rope or like macrame, something like that, you could just use one strip for all the way around. Either way, this did work out just fine. You can't even tell. But I'm just gluing the first two pieces there along the edge and sealing up where they meet. I don't want there to be a gap where the two rope pieces meet at the top. And then I will kind of just follow that pattern all the way. And eventually, as it gets smaller, I won't need two pieces. I can just use one piece to go throughout both sides, if that makes any sense. Anyway, you'll see as we go. And this, I could have probably done at least 2, maybe 3 of these, or I thought about doing like 2 like little mini, because I have a ton of this stuff left. Or I don't know, maybe we'll use it for like Christmas, Santa's beard or something. We'll see. But there is a lot left. You definitely could have made another one this size. You could have made a really big one and used the entire pack. But I never made this before, so I'm just kind of going with it. You want to put these as close together as possible. As you can see, that one side, you can kind of see the black underneath it. In fact, maybe a white foam core would have been better now that I'm thinking about it. But I didn't have that. I just had the black. And really, once I was finished, you couldn't tell at all. I just figured out the more I went, you really want to butt those two pieces of rope right up to each other so that you can't see anything of the foam core board or any of the glue. You just want a really tight little fit. So I went on and on. I did not need to show you everything. It took, I don't know, some time, half hour maybe. This is the last one. As you can see, as the further along I went, I didn't have to use 2 strips to fill the spot. And that little last piece, I'm gonna kind of squeeze in another. Again, I just want really tight fitting so that we don't know that this is on a you could do this with wood. You could do this with just even cardboard. Like if you have a cardboard box from Amazon or wherever, cardboard would just be just as good and just as easy. And that's free. So there you go. We're gonna give our cute little ghost here a haircut and trim to be kind of similar in length. I mean, I'm not too worried about it being perfection. I'm not getting out a measuring tape or ruler or anything, but I do want them to look somewhat the same. And we are going to unbraid all the strands. If unbraiding, untwisting, I don't know. But I do untwist them all. And that just makes it look so cute. You could totally leave it, but I thought it looked really cute. I like all the little kinks. It also makes it look a little bit fuller. And if you wanted it really, really full, you could definitely add some additional pieces there at the bottom of the foam core along that bottom edge. And just glue them in there. You probably wouldn't even notice, but I was totally fine with how this went as it was. And then I go dig up some black felt. You could do this with paper. You could find some real like googly eyes if you had them. Anyways, I'm using felt. And I'm just cutting like some eyes. I don't know. I'm just kind of hand cutting them. into little oval shaped eyes. And we're gonna hot glue those on. And I couldn't stop there. You definitely could, but I wanted her to have a bow. We're making a mama ghost. As I said, I might make a couple of little baby ghosts, but I found this black and white ribbon. I think I was going to make, yeah, that's what I did. I was going to maybe make a bow with the felt, but I decided against that. I have this black and white striped ribbon. I'm pretty sure this did come from Hobby Lobby a couple years back. I'm just kind of scrunching it up and not even really tying it into a bow. I'm just kind of using the twine to scrunch it up into a bow. We're gonna hot glue the little bow to her head. You'll see at the very end I added a Dollar Tree, I think they're foam. What are they? Foam roses. They came in orange, white, black, and purple. And I did that after the fact, so it's not on the video. I didn't even remember that they were in the Dollar Tree bag until after. But I did stick one of those. I used a purple one and glued that right to the top of her hair bow. And look how cute she is. Now, I didn't put a hanger on her. You could hang some like jute rope on the back of her to hang her. She is so lightweight. I'm literally just going to tape her to my wall wherever I put her, or use like a sticky tab, or you could use a command strip. You could even hang her from the ceiling, get some fishing line, hang a bunch of ghosts from the ceiling. You would have to cover the back. You could make them double-sided. Ooh, that would be cute. Anyways, moving on to our window clings. And okay, this is not from the Dollar Tree. In fact, I wasn't even sure if it was a pumpkin or an apple. It doesn't say. It does say it's not for food. It's for decorative purposes only. So I don't feel bad for making it even less food safe than it probably already was. But it came from the Target Bullseye, or I don't know, dollar spot. It was $3. And when I was trying to figure out what to put these window clings on, I thought, I'm just going to add this in because it is so cute. And then we're going to use that bigger piece. It says Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is still fall, but I think it'll be a really cute addition to Thanksgiving, putting maybe some little appetizers or nuts. In the video, I put you'll see I put some candies in those jars. I do a candle, and it does have that turntable, like a Lazy Susan turntable on the bottom, so it can be functional that way if you needed it to be. But I am using, it's not Mod Podge, it's just like Mod Podge. It's liquid patina by DIY. But I'm just using that to apply it. Now, I'm not sure. I'm hoping this is all going to just dry clear and stay put and not peel. This window cling was not about to stick to the wood on its own. It's not like it does when it sticks to paper or to plastic or glass. So this is kind of an experiment, hoping it works, because look how beautiful that looks. I love it. Now I'm going to do the little jars. I'm just going to pick a couple of the other designs, the pumpkins. I think I use the flowers or one of the rainbows. I don't remember. I'm doing the same thing with these, as they do stick on this little jar. Okay, I didn't want them going anywhere. So just for some added protection, or just to make sure they don't go anywhere, I am using that same liquid patina. And that's how that one turned out. So cute. You can kind of see along the edge where I applied that liquid patina. But once it dries, I don't know that you'll even notice. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to put on this one. I started doing the little flowers, and I think I added that other little flower. I played around with this one quite a bit, just figuring out what looked the best and what was going to be cute with my candy. I got some Reese's Reese's Pieces. That's what I got. And some candy corn. These both came from Walmart. The Dollar Tree probably has candy also. But I got mine with my Walmart order, my grocery order. And the candy corns came with like little pumpkins in it too. Really cute. I don't particularly like candy corn, but I do like some Reese's Pieces, so I was just sneaking a few. And then I added this candle. This is also from the Dollar Tree, and put some, so I ended up putting the flower on the candle. It looks so beautiful. I found this little wicker pumpkin. I think that came from Target also. And I'm just kind of playing around. I don't know how I'll end up displaying it. I think it looks cuter with the lids off. I did tie a little bit of the really thin twine and just made a little quick bow. I did that around both the jars. Like I said, they do look cuter with the lids off. So if it comes down to when I'm using this, I probably will take those lids off. And who knows, I might just put like some nuts, or I don't know. They're just tiny little jars. There's not much you can put in there. You could use bigger jars and do like popcorn or like a snack mix. That would be cute too. But we are moving on. These are so stinking easy. I am just gonna open this one up. It has some packaging on it. That one is double-sided, so I can do, I think in the video I only did one on there, but there are two on there now. This one is just a really funny one. I saw it somewhere, Facebook maybe, and so I just picked some different fonts and designed it in Cricut Design Space. The other one is also from the girl I was telling you about, Whitney, from Whiskey and Wit. I was going to say my girl, but she doesn't know me. So, but that was another one I downloaded when I was on her blog getting the Man on the Moon. I saw that other one. It was really cute. But this one is just funny. It's kind of cheeky. If one door closes and another one opens, your house is probably haunted. So I just thought that was cute and funny for a little spooky season, and putting it on this house. It looks so cute. I'm doing nothing to the frames, leaving them just as they are. You could stain them or paint them. They look good to me, just like they are. This other one is also really cute and funny. I think it says, we'll have to see, I think it says something, if zombies are chasing us, I'm tripping you. Nothing personal, I think is what it says. I thought that was so cute. These could go on all kinds of little blanks. These are going to be good for tier trays or just a little vignette if you're setting up anything for Halloween and they're not too bold or distracting. I just used white permanent vinyl. Nothing fancy about it. And those are done. I don't do anything else to them. I think they are just the cutest, though. They crack me up. I love spooky, cute stuff, not spooky, scary stuff. I realized I missed that little period at the end, so I went back and found it. Luckily, it was still attached to my transfer sheet. And that is that. We are done. Can we call that one a project? All right. we will. This one is the other little Dollar Tree house. I cut out these wood elements, again with my laser cutter, just a ghost and a little jack-o'-lantern with a hat. I cut a few pumpkins. I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with this. I know the Dollar Tree sells wooden, I think they call them like ornaments, something like that. I didn't have any of those, so I just cut my own. I cut a decal, again, with the Cricut. This trick or treat design is just something I pulled off of Design Space. I didn't do anything to it to change it. I just sized it to fit within this little rectangle on the house. And that was the easiest part of all of this. I'm just going to paint. So both of these have kind of a front piece and a back piece. And that is so the little cutouts for their eyes. And the little ghost is holding like a candy trick-or-treat pail. So the back portion is just getting black. All you're going to see is where the front has little cuts in it. And that was just simplifying it for me. Didn't have to paint. These are little, and I wouldn't have to try to paint those little eyes and that jack-o'-lantern's mouth on there. I'm just using just a really small detail brush to do this. No big deal. I don't even have to cover the whole thing. I'm just doing what is going to be shown. And then I grab, what do I grab? I think orange, well, obviously white for the ghost. And I end up doing part of the jack-o'-lantern's hat in the black. And then I decided to go with, I think, a purple. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's a purple. It is called Grape Jam. It's apple barrel. I think I must have cut the footage where I painted the ghost white, but I did do that just with the Waverly white. And then I pulled out that purple paint that I was telling you. I'm just took a couple of coats to cover the wood up. But this little hat is adorable. And then I decide I wanted the ghost's pail to be orange instead of plain black. And I had to get the orange out anyways to paint my jack-o'-lantern. So that is what I am doing here. Getting that done, and then I'm kind of just lining up the front and the back together where they go so that I kind of have an idea of where to put that orange to, so that I don't get it within where his little hands are, is kind of why I did that. That's how they turned out, and then they need to get glued together. And I'm using the Surebond thick super glue. It's the super glue that I use most often. It's almost gone, and I'm having a hard time getting anything to even squeeze out of it. So I had to use two hands. So I'm kind of blocking what I'm doing, but I'm just gluing. That's it, just gluing. And then I decide, okay, it's cute, but I don't know. I had these little foam roses I thought maybe I could do something with. So I played around with those for a minute. I couldn't figure out a way to put them on there that I liked. So I grabbed I cut just a little piece off of a pick, like a floral fall pick. And I thought, well, maybe I can make like a cute little wreath. And so that is pretty much what I did. I just trimmed off that edge there, and then I used hot glue to wrap around and just kind of make a circle. This is totally like just an extra step and probably unnecessary. It may have even looked better before I put it on, but I like it and my kids like it. They think it's really fun. This is just a really playful DIY. It's nothing fancy. for anyone's home, but since we have little kids, they enjoy this stuff. And we like making everything fun for them. That's the whole point, right? Not just to decorate, it is to make life fun. You got to do that because life is hard, right? Yes, it is. I'm just using hot glue to apply it to the little house, and then I used some orange ribbon. I cut the ribbon like down the middle because it was a little bit too thick for this tiny, tiny wreath. And that's all I did. All you got to do for this one. It's cute. That's fun. Okay. This is I think it's our last project, the calendar. I cut more of that foam board. I just cut a large square. I cut it 12 by 12. I knew I wanted it to be a little bit bigger than the calendar itself. I used actually my Cricut mat to measure or trace around basically, and then I used a box cutter type knife to cut the foam core. And I'm using this, it's Folly All, but I accidentally tore this Happy Harvest, and when I saw that I thought, oh shoot, maybe I should have used that one, but I'm committed, so I'm going with it. Again, I am using the liquid patina to apply this calendar page to my foam core board. So I'm just going to kind of start out in sections and try to avoid wrinkles. That's always the trick when we are decoupaging or laying anything down with Mod Podge. So I'm starting out just with that one side, and then that will keep it lined up where I want it. I'm pulling up the other side, doing kind of the same thing. Now you could do the whole let it dry and then heat it back up. You could do the saran wrap. There's all sorts of tricks out there. I just wasn't stressed about it. And I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out anyways with the paper and the foam core. Actually, it turned out better than I thought it was going to. Because when it's wet, you can kind of see through it, but once it dried, you couldn't anymore. And it does appear on the camera, I can see here that there are a lot of wrinkles. I am going through and kind of smoothing some of them out, but once it dries, you actually can't see those anymore. I went outside, I cut some wood to make a frame. This is just a 1x2 furring strip. I actually didn't measure. I kind of measured, but I don't have measurements for you. I just kind of held the wood up where I wanted and used my pencil to mark it, and then I cut it that way. So I'm just gonna stain these. The stain that I used, shoot, what was it called? I have it. Oh, let me find it. Hold on. Okay, it's called Early American. It's by Minwax. So, nothing special. Just a little can from probably Home Depot. I don't know. I've had it for a long time. I'm just using a foam brush to apply it, wiping any of it back if I need to. And this is actual stain, so it does take a while to dry. It remains kind of tacky and sticky for a bit. So I did let this set out overnight before I finished this project. But it covers really nicely. It looks beautiful. And don't worry, there's something underneath that brown paper craft paper, so my table is not getting damaged. Don't worry about that. Now that it's all dry, I am bringing the calendar piece back. I'm just going to use my staple gun. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of lining it up where I want it to go. You could use glue to even hold it temporarily while you place your staples. You could just have glue, period. Don't even use the staples. You could get out your nail gun if you have a nail gun. I didn't want to drag mine out. I'm just going straight in with the staples, and it worked perfectly. If I ever want to reuse this wood, I could even pry it off. It wouldn't be a big deal. So I just put it down, I hold it, and I flip it over. I do the same thing with all four of the sides. I put it where I want it. Make sure it's lined up the best that I can. And this is not perfect, y'all. But that foam core board did warp a little bit. I ended up having to put something heavy on top of it to kind of flatten it out. I guess when it got wet from the liquid patina, it did warp a little. So I don't know. Again, this is not a perfect project, but I did think it was a really beautiful way to use an image from that calendar. And I'm just using the same knife that I use. I guess this is not a box cutter. I don't know what this is. One of those knives. And I kind of scored along and then used my scissors to finish it up. And I did kind of sand. It became a little bit jagged back there. But it trimmed off really, really nicely. And you really would never know that I used a foam core for this unless you flipped it over or if you touched it maybe. You could use wood, but we are doing Dollar Tree stuff today, and this turned out really, really beautiful. I love it, y'all. Here is everything we did. This video was a lot of fun. I have to admit, I don't get out to the Dollar Tree very often, and that's not just the Dollar Tree. I don't shop very often, period. I'm not a big shopper, but I do love how all of these came out. They were so fun. I hope that you enjoyed this as well. Thank you for spending your time with me. Even if you don't love the Dollar Tree, I hope that some of these gave you just a little bit of inspiration to do something fun. And stay safe, everyone, and we will see you very soon. Thank you so much.